Morning guys, so I just got back from the gym, so if I'm looking a little bit red and swollen it's because I'm really tired from the workout that I just did at the gym. So I just got back from the gym. Normally I have to wait a little while before I can actually go into the gym because I have an off-peak contract at the gym that I belong to, and so I can only go in from about 8:30. So when I drop my kids off, normally I have about a half an hour that I have to wait before I can actually enter the gym. And so in that time, what I generally do is I just read from the Word and see if I can get any inspiration for the day. And so today, I've been reading from the book of John, and I'm reading from John book 4, John 4, John 4 verse 43, and it's a story of Jesus healing an official's son. So I'm just going to read to you what it says, and then I'm just going to explain to you what it meant for me today. So I'll read to you from the Word, John 4 verse 43. After 2 days he left for Galilee, this now being Jesus. Now Jesus himself had pointed out that a prophet has no honor in his own country. When he arrived in Galilee, the Galileans welcomed him. They had seen all that he had done in Jerusalem at the Passover festival, for they had also been there. Once more, he visited Cana in Galilee, where he had turned the water into wine. And there was a certain royal official whose son lay sick at Capernaum. When this man heard that Jesus had arrived in Galilee from Judea, he went to him and begged him to come and heal his son, who was close to death. Unless you people see signs and wonders, Jesus told him, you will never believe. And this is not the end of the story, but it was going to stop there, pause there for a moment. And this was so relevant for me today because I have been mulling over something that I really want to do, where God has come through and he's actually shown me that he is in agreement with what it is that I want to do. From something simple as investigating the artwork that I wanted to use, getting a couple of quotes, knowing I will not be able to afford it, and then God actually sending me the link through investigation, of a free download that I was then able to download, and it's exactly the kind of look that I wanted, and I can completely play with the artwork myself. So that was already God giving me an indication that what it is that I wanted to do, he was allowing me to pursue without the cost that I thought I was going to incur in the pursuit of this thing that I want to do, this workshop that I want to run. And so I did that. I downloaded the artwork, and I started working on some of the marketing material. And then a few days into that, I began to doubt again. And then I started really questioning myself, after God had already come through for me, after he had already proven to me that this was something that he wanted me to pursue. Just a few days after that, a few days after starting to do that work, I began to doubt again. And so this verse from John 4, verse 48 really resonated with me. Unless you people see signs and wonders, Jesus told him, you will never believe. And so the thing that I want to say to you in this moment is this. If God has laid something on your heart and he's already come through once to prove to you that he is on your side and that he is wanting you to pursue the thing that he has laid on your heart, do not easily get distracted. Do not easily, become disillusioned. Stay steadfast in the word that he initially gave you. Stay steadfast in the original message that he has given you. Because if you don't, then it means that he needs to come and give you another message, and you are actually just wasting your time, in your disbelief. You are wasting your time in your doubt of yourself. You are wasting your time in your doubt of God and your doubt of his plan for you. And I know that it sometimes becomes difficult, but I've realized that what I need to do is I actually need to write down the word that I initially received from him, and I need to just refer back to it so that I do not become disillusioned, so that I do not lose faith. We all lose faith, we all become distracted. But just remind yourself of the things that God initially said to you. And yes, as with me, He will come through for you again. He will bring you another word. But you will save yourself so much time and effort if you just believe in the initial word that He gave you. And then I will continue to read from verse 49. The royal official said, "Sir, come down before my child dies." "Go," Jesus replied, "your son will live." So in this case, the royal official knows that Jesus can perform miracles. He knows that Jesus is a healer. He has that faith, he has that belief, but he doubts. And we are the same. Jesus gives us an initial word. We have the faith. We believe the initial word that he gives us. And we start to walk down the path, but we are so easily swayed. We are so easily disillusioned, and we so easily distrust. We so easily lose faith. And yes, we are human. But I encourage you, as I'm encouraging myself today, to just remain in the word, because Jesus says, "Go, your son will live." Jesus says, "Go, I have given you my promise." Jesus says, "Go, you have my word." Jesus says, "Go." Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For you know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, to give you hope and a future, not to harm you." And then I continue to read. The man took Jesus at his word and departed. While he was still on the way, his servants met him with the news that his boy was living. When he inquired as to the time when his son got better, they said to him, "Yesterday at 1 p.m, the fever left him." Now this was so specifically profound for me, because in the example that I'm giving you now, in the example that I'm giving you about the fact that God had given me already the sign and wonder that I needed to pursue, the dream and the vision that I had in my heart, He had already given me the indication of the road He wanted me to walk down. When God did that, right, He had already started putting things in motion. He had already started planning the thing that He promised me. He had already started working on the hearts of those who I am going to encounter on the road on which I will walk. He had already started to do that. And as in this story, when Jesus says to this man, to this royal official, He says, "Go, your son will live." And this man starts to walk back to go back to his home. In the moment when Jesus said go, He had already healed his son. He had already fulfilled His promise. The minute He gives you the initial indication of the road He wants you to walk on, the minute He gives you the initial indication of the thing that He promises you, the minute He lays that initial wish on your heart, that initial yearning on your heart, He has already actually fulfilled His promise in that very moment. And I continue to read from John 4 verse 53. Then the father realized that this was the exact time at which Jesus had said to him, "Your son will live." So he and his whole household believed. It was a second sign Jesus performed after coming from Judea to Galilee. And so, today, I want to leave you with this word of encouragement, and that is that if God has already laid it on your heart, if He has already given you a sign and wonder, if He has already come to prove to you once, if He's already come and He's proven Himself once to you, you may have faith and trust that He will come through. Because when He originally put that thing on your heart, when He originally laid that thing down before you, when He originally planted that seed, in that very moment, He had already begun to set things in motion. He had already begun to unleash His plan. He had already foreseen the vision and how it would be completed. He had already planted that seed with the knowledge that it would grow into a tree that would bear fruit. And so I want to encourage you today. If God has laid something on your heart and He's given you a word, pursue it. Pursue it without needing to ask Him for more validation, without needing to ask Him for more proof, without needing to ask Him to prove Himself to you over and over and over again, because the plan has already been set in motion. Go, Jesus replied, your son will live. I hope you have a fantastic day, and please subscribe to this testimony series if today's message has been useful to you and has been helpful to you. Much love. Until next time.